Welcome back, everyone, to another episode of Rooftop Perspectives. I am your host, as always, LanceScurv. I don't even know where to start, and maybe I shouldn't have even started this video until I had my thoughts together. I always free flow, but I don't free flow like this. What do I want to talk about? Let's just say I want to talk about the state of our relationships in the modern day. It is weird, the practices that many indulge in the modern day relationships, and I say modern day for a reason. This is not the blame game. I'm not chastising anybody. I'm just shooting from the hip. They have this term called the modern day woman, and it really kind of snuck up on me because I've been hearing this for years, and I've been hearing this through actually, Kevin Samuels, his videos. Rest in peace, brother. You brought a lot of knowledge. You upset a lot of people, and I've seen it for myself. And I really started to recently more so. I would look at things occasionally, but I'm looking at a lot of his stuff, and I'm looking at a lot of relationship stuff. Not that I need to, I'm off the market, but I think it's necessary that we speak on these things because we have younger children coming up, and they're being very much influenced by, bitter men, bitter women that are older than them, and they hear these things, and it influences them to just go ahead and take the baton of what they hear and run with it without even knowing the basic principles of what a man should be to a woman and a woman should be to a man. And if I say my feelings on that, many people are going to say that's your opinion. But why are we so confused with each other? I listened to some of his statistics. I'm going to go back and check and see if it's really true that 28% of men in relationships cheat, and 24% of women in relationships and marriages cheat. So that's like 1 out of 4. That's like 1 out of 4 women who are married or in relationships step out. And the 28%, you could bump it up and round it off and say, well, that could be like a third, 1 out of 3, but it's still close, but it's a little more. But it's basically the same. And who are these people that we are running with when we're in these committed relationships? It's usually other people who are in committed relationships or marriages. It's very seldom, and I can't say because I don't have the statistics on that, but I don't think that you have so many people chasing the single people. And they do. They're there. So we're not going to argue about the statistics. The main thing is that the state of our relationships are jacked up. You get married, why? Why do we get married? If we know deep down that it's not really a commitment, because I feel that many people who do get married, it's not for love and it's not for a commitment. I don't know what's going on in people's heads these days. But let's just break it down from the beginning. This is a free flow. This is not any one set topic. I just want to touch on some things and stimulate by the responses what comes back at me, what I really should talk on. Because I have a lot to say about these things, but I'm not just going to start ranting on stuff unless we have a focal point. But this thing called the modern day woman, which from what I've observed online pretty much means a woman who she's on her own, she has her own, she makes her own money. Is that a crime? No. She has a career. Is that a crime? No. But there's an attitude in this world that comes along with that usually when she's a woman competing in a man's space or a traditional man's space. And the mindset is that I got to get mine, I got mine, I don't need you, I don't need a man. I'm hearing a lot of that also. The whole I don't need a man thing. And that's some masculine energy. That's some bitter energy. And I know personally women who are like that. They're nice to me. But as soon as you talk to them, they go down a list of what they have, what they're doing for themselves, and pretty much they throw off that I don't need a man energy. Well, there are a lot of men who may not be looking for a woman at the time. And I would say that most good men that I know, that's a turnoff to them. But then when you take time and speak to some of these women the more that they see that you are a good man is the more that they seem to get pissed off that you're a good man. And it's no thing where it's a checklist to, I check off this, I check off this, I check off that, I check off this box, and now you can see I'm a good man. That's up to the individual to assess what that good man is and what that good man is not. All I'm saying, for all the advances in our personal life and achievements that we can have, why is it that so many women are getting older and they're accomplished and they're bitter? And they don't admit it lots of times because now it's like they don't want to admit that they really do or really would like to have the company or a committed man in their life. Is it a competition to see how much we're making, and I make more than you and I can't talk to you because I make more than you? This is what I find, and I'm going to talk a little more on this, but I'm going to kind of ease off into something else, but this is what I find and what I've observed over the years. You have this career woman, and no person should ever want to stop a woman from achieving and reaching her goals. I'm pro-woman on that. But at what point do you let go of the total being that you're supposed to be and go all in on this motivated, driven, focused, determined career woman, and I have no time for men because I'm getting money, I got my cats at home, I got my Netflix, I got my nice car, everything is going good that way. And you go on years this way, and as the years go by, the stuff that you've accrued seems to be mocking you because those things don't fill up the empty space that you have inside. And it's not about a piece of penis, because most of these women who say they don't need men are artificially bonded to a battery-operated boyfriend. And what is that? A dildo or various sex devices that can stimulate the clitoris and the vagina and the anus in a very much intense symphony of sensations to go to your brain to result in orgasm. And there's nobody to hold you after that. There's nobody to talk to after that. There's nobody to dream with after that. There's nobody to just say, hey, let's kick it. And when you realize that you're getting older and your social circle is dying off and getting smaller, moving away, getting ailments, or some of them may find a man of their dreams or somebody that they can work with. And this is the problem lots of times. We're looking for the mate of our dreams, and this goes for men also, but I'm still talking about some of my sisters, not all of them. I will agree and say that there are not as many quality men out here. And I don't mean they have to be making 6 figures. I mean quality men who are ready for total commitment, who are all in to build with you. And most often, lots of times, we have different situations that we're coming out of or in our lives where we already tried to start to build with somebody else and we catch a scar. Somebody divorces the other one, you're not together anymore, but you have children. You have finances and things that you have to take care of from the previous situation. So it's never when. I'm not going to say never, never, but most often there's always a story behind each person that you meet that you may find favorable. And that's to be expected. Because lots of times when we're younger, we make some foolish decisions that we're going to have to pay for. We're going to have to pay for these things. And you have women and men who don't understand until they're maybe in their late 30s, early 40s, and sadly enough, 50. And they still have their mind open for this type of situation, or they might be bitter from a previous situation which has screwed up their head for anything good coming to them that may not look like the thing coming to them, but it is something good for them. You know how many women I've known when I was much younger and very much promiscuous that would call me late at night? And yes, it appeared as though it may have been a sexual thing. But lots of them never wanted me to leave. Just stay a little longer. Would you like for me to fix something for you to nibble on, to eat? I already did a little nibbling. And I was always a gentleman. I say, sure, I'll stay with you. What are you doing tomorrow? You free tomorrow? Yeah, I'm free. Well, how about, I'm going to go to the market, and then I want to go to the beach and, just kick it a little bit. You want to come along with me? And after different situations, because I was getting around, like Tupac said, and that's not a good thing, but I learned a lot with those experiences. That many of these women who were much, much older than me, decades and decades older than me, I was 20, 21, 22. Some of these women were 20 and 30 years older than me. They kept themselves up nice. They were surprised at the level of my conversation. So I wasn't just used as some boy toy. I gave them something that they needed, and it wasn't just the physicality of what happened in the bedroom. But they didn't take me as a threat because I was much younger. They felt as though they had control. But still, my presence as a young man and my ability to treat them as a gentleman and engage them in meaningful conversation, it opened up something that was inside of them that they refused to usually see. And a lot of these women were bitter. They didn't show it to me, but I can see the residue of the bitterness because I was very perceptive at that time. All I'm trying to say is that young ladies who are just starting out, you don't have children yet, you're not established yet, please do not take this type of mindset on. If you open yourself up to any man or just any situation, you're going to find yourself in a sorry state of affairs, which will cause you later on to get bitter when life doesn't pan out the way you want it, because time goes by so fast. Please don't take on the masculine energy that is a turnoff to most men. We know that in the workplace, especially the corporate workplace, you have to be very aggressive to make your money and hold on to your position. People are gunning for your position. You're looking for a promotion, or even if you run your own business, you have to deal with people who are going to be very, very masculine. You can be feminine and still deal with this type of energy, but leave it at the job. Don't bring that home. Don't embrace that mentality 24/7 and wonder why nobody really wants to be around you. There will be men who see your accomplishments and they're going to want to be around you to use you for what you have. Or maybe they want a place to stay or to use you as a sugar mama. But trust me, I know when you have that masculine energy and you out there getting it, you can see that kind of thing coming a mile away. So we don't have to worry about that. But still, you may look at men as predatory. They just want one thing. We need sex. But we don't need sex just to go, and I'm talking about the good men who want commitment. I'm not speaking up for all men, so don't hold me to task for what I'm about to say. But from what I see, the good men want a sex life. They want to explore that with that one woman. And some people say, yeah, okay, you give them that, and they're going to want it with everybody else, your sister, your cousin, the neighbor down the block, the old lady around the corner. It's not always necessarily that. You got to find a man who has been through enough to know what he wants. And most men want one woman that can tell him, baby, I know it's hard out here because I'm out here too, and it's tough. But you know what? I like the attributes that you possess, and I want to build with you. If you want to commit to me, like you say, I'm down for it. I want to build with you, but not only that, I want to be here for you. I want to build you up. I need you to build me up. I'm going to support you, and you're going to support me through thick and thin, through no matter what happens. I'm going to hold you in the middle of the night, and I'm going to tell positive things to you, and I want you to do the same for me. I want us to have fun times together. I want us to have down times together. See, when a man hears that, you got to understand that he really doesn't need you for your money. He may make less than you, I'm talking about the good men now, the self-sufficient good men, because a lot of good men get trashed because of the clowns and the bums and the pookies and the ray-rays out here who are about nothing. You see, not all men, especially black men, want to just use you for your body. Yes, he'll see your body. Yes, he finds it irresistible. But it's more about you. I can tell you some really deep things, but I don't want to go too deep to the point where YouTube will smash me, because I'm speaking not on a lewd level, but on an adult level. Well, let me try to say a few things without really saying it so that they can't knock me and say I'm saying something nasty. You see, when you're making love, you're not making lust after a person's body. When you're making love to somebody, the world has taken this divine thing called sexuality and twisted it upside down and inside out. So all we think when we see it is it's a lust thing. Quite the opposite. There is a physical and visual attraction to the physical body, but those are merely the tools. What they're really attracted to, my sisters, and I'm speaking to sisters, are the attributes, the divine attributes that you have from within. Those things that make that man want to procreate with you in a righteous way. It's not about how round your backside is. It's not about how pretty you are. It's not about how good you execute your head game. It's not about that. That's nice. Yes, it is. But what is he thinking about when he's with you in that bed? Is he thinking about the woman that he saw at the mall earlier today with that booming body? Is he thinking about somebody that he dealt with in the past on a lust level? You know how to erase that? Make that man celebrate the attributes that you have internally. Your standing, your integrity, the level of commitment that you have to him and he has to you. I'm not talking in a one-sided way, I'm just talking to the sisters. So I'm not going to repeat everything from the man's side, because we're talking about a man who's good, who wants all of these good things that he expects from you. See, I didn't even expect to come out here and talk like this. Like I said in the beginning of the video, I said I don't know where I'm going to start. I'm going to continue this. And I'm going to also say, while you possibly may enjoy these words, tell me what aspect of this particular video that I spoke on that you want me to go deeper on. Because I want to speak more about relationships. I'm not an expert, but I had a lot of experience. From the one-night stand to the marriage and all in between. All different kind of unions in between. So I'm willing to share that from the heart. And this is not to attack a woman or to attack a man or make the man look bad. This is just from the heart for me to share. Like I said, I'm going to start just sharing my experiences so you can pick through it and take what you desire. It's like a garage sale. You're not going to buy everything out of the garage sale. To you, some of those things might be a piece of junk. But you might see one thing. Oh, wow, look at that lamp, that Tiffany lamp. He's only selling it for $20. It's a piece of junk to the owner, but it's a piece of valuable item, furniture, something that can add value to already my living room or how I arrange things. So this is how we deal with advice. And I have to say, I've been getting a lot of requests for advice, and I'm somewhat dumbfounded that you think high enough of me to be able to share these things, but I can't give perfect advice because I never lived a perfect life. I can only tell you what I've been through, some of the misjudgments that I made, mistakes, bad decisions. That's how I've come to what level of wisdom you think I have, is because now I know what not to do. And you shouldn't have to go through these things if from early on we try to do things right. This generation, in this time period, would have been very difficult for me to come up unscathed. And yes, I'm not unscathed in my ascension to this age, but I would have really fell for some stuff if I had all of this temptation around me. And I did have wisdom, but I did not use it all the time. It's like a police officer that has a gun legally by his side 24/7, but in his desire to not shoot somebody who may come off as threatening to him, he gets shot and killed because of his misjudgment and feeling that the person who eventually took his life was nicer than that, or he could reach him. He didn't want to pull it. But in these days, things are so treacherous that you have to pull the trigger to defend yourself. And when I mean pull the trigger, I don't mean attacking anyone. All I mean is knowing how to skirt around certain issues so you don't find yourself with something that you can't reverse. A lot of our sisters, a lot of them didn't have fathers growing up. A lot of them were looking for love at a very young age. And the father is the first example of manhood, but there's no father, any example of malehood you think is manhood. And because you crave this special kind of love so much, any male that tells you you're pretty or gives you time and says nice things to you, you can't help but fall for this. And oftentimes he knows what he's doing and he knows what he's after, but you can't help it. You can't help it. And you're young. It feels good. Now you end up with a baby and he's nowhere in sight. And the process repeats itself several times over. And you find yourself possibly now with several children. You're in your 30s now, or late 20s or 30s. And now you realize that I got to take care of this child, as you should. But I chose a man who didn't want commitment. And at some point, I find that a lot of bitterness will set in. Or you'll just ignore the bitterness, or don't have any bitterness at all and just roll with it on a low vibrational lifestyle, thinking that you can eventually find it or that it's owed to you. And this is what I find with a lot of older women that I've known, that they get bitter and resentful because they never had a chance for real love and what they always wanted, but yet and still many of them were out there doing their thing when they were younger. And now the gray hairs are coming in. Now the wrinkles are coming in. Now the health issues now are on the horizon, because when they go to the doctor now, they say, you better watch out for this, you better watch out for that. And when they were younger, they didn't have to watch out for anything. So they look over their life and they say, wait a second, I never had this. But you weren't thinking about it when you were younger. But it comes back to haunt you when you're older. So there's nothing I can do with that except really to say, I hope you find healing. But for those who are younger, please hold on to yourself. Keep yourself untouched. Use your mind. There are a lot of manipulators out here. And if you might have had the situation of growing up and not having strong male righteous entities around you, that's an area that you're going to have to really work on, because it's going to be very challenging, because we do have lots of predatory men out here that will look to swoop down on you. Oh, I don't see a ring on her finger. Oh, I don't see a man around her. Oh, she has a child or two, but I'm not really looking to hang around. They tolerate your children, but they don't want to be a father. They don't want to be a father to some next man's DNA. They only going to go take it for a ride for a while. And I'm not saying there's anything wrong with a man who does that, but fellas, be careful when you do. Be careful when you do, because also now I'm flipping it over to the fellas now, y'all. And I'm not saying this is every woman, but lots of times, and really the mechanism that kicks in with a woman who has a child or 2 or 3 or 4, she's a mother. She's going to look out for those children first. And that's the way it should be. But if you're a man coming into a union with a woman who already has children, you got to take a short on that, because those children are her first priority. So are you ready as a man to lose that little bit of attention? What is it that you both are offering to each other, right? So wouldn't it be better to meet a woman who has no children at all, which may be a little challenging, but they're out there. But can you deal with this, knowing that this woman, hey, if somebody yelled fire, who's she looking to save first, right? And in you trying to be a father to those stepchildren, you got to understand that you are not the father. So no matter how bad the father is, no matter how bad the father treated the mother, beat her down, made babies on her, brought home STDs, totally disrespected her, he's still going to have a special place in her psyche, buried below all of the bad things that have happened between them, because he is the father. You just can't break that. So now many of these women, not all, because I've seen some mixed family situations work very well, but many of them who are not in the understanding of the role that she has to you and the commitment that she has to you, regardless as to the children that she has, you're going to be neglected. And after those children are raised, job well done. In her mind, she's saying, well, you know, you helped me with this and helped me with that. You soothed me in the middle of the night through my troubles. I'm not I got over this now. So it's easy now for her to disregard you. And most of the times, you're not going to get the respect of those children who you had to deal with, but you didn't have the power to correct them. So now you're the bad guy. And to her, you are the bad guy too, because you corrected them as you should as a father, even though you're not the father. So when you get with somebody who has children already, you better sit down and talk these things over. And don't say to yourself, oh, love will take care of it. Love will make me feel a certain way, and we'll work it out because of love. Lots of times, these women need you because you're bringing in the extra income. Let's not forget. And you're fulfilling a role. You're like braces that hold teeth in place. The teeth are going all over the place. The children are just so how could I say it? Bad. The word's floating around. Rebellious. And you've done the job of dealing with it. You'll even get cursed out sometime when they get to adolescence. And because the father didn't do good for the children, it was a poor example, the mother is trying to make up to the children for what the children never got. Now, these are teenagers now. So they're going to be soft-handed in how they correct their children, but those children will violate you outright. Not in all situations, but some that I've known. And she will not take a stand to say, listen, he's not your father, but he is the man of this house, and he holds this position, and you are to respect him. Oh man, I can talk about relationships all day long. And I want to do it. And I want to do it probably in like a Patreon type show. Not that I'm looking to get money from people, but you can't go really deep and use the real language and get deep, because somebody's going to complain or try to report you and smash your channel. So I'm going to have to do this with unlisted links, probably on Patreon. You give me your feedback on how I should do it. I can do it on a independent podcast platform that has nothing to do with YouTube, but you will not see the visuals of me talking. Not that you need to see me, but sometimes we absorb information better when we feel as though we're talking to somebody. I want to know. I want to start really focusing on relationships on a certain section of the LanceScurv platform like I used to, but with much more knowledge and experience now at this particular junction point. And I challenge you, I will speak about anything. Put it in the comments section, email it to me, lance@lancescurv.com, and I will cover that topic. And to the brother from Tampa that wrote me that beautiful letter, I've been meaning to respond back to you. I will not say to the world what it is, but I thank you for your kind words, and I'm glad that something I shared with you or with the world, but you caught it, and therefore it was really divinely for you. I'm glad that it helped you out so much, and it brought tears to my eyes that you shared that experience with me. Stuff out here is real, y'all. There are people out here who are overdosing on drugs, committing suicide, killing other people, doing things that impact their lives forever for only what is, in hindsight, a temporary situation. So let's not look and see like the sun is going down. I'm seeing the sun. When the rain clouds are in front of me and I don't see the sun, it doesn't mean the sun doesn't exist. It's something blocking the beauty of the sun, which has rays just for me. Because when those sun rays hit me specifically, those rays were for me. The sun shining all over the place, but those rays that hit me were for me. And when the sun was behind that cloud, it still held rays for LanceScurv. So there's goodness for you. So just because you have a storm over your life for a week, for a couple months, or even for a couple of years or a decade, don't ever think that goodness is not going to come to you. Sometimes we have to just go through it with a little time, or step back and rethink, or let something go that is very toxic for us. Because I find a lot of us do that also. See, as I'm getting older, I'm realizing, even in my life, I've held on to situations that were dead, that were long gone. And I said, wait a second. I'm only holding on to this because it's something I know. Because maybe I'm fearful of the unknown. But the unknown is where your freedom and your joy will lie. Because if the thing that you're around just continues to make you feel bad, and I saw a quote, I'm going to make a t-shirt out of it. What did it say exactly? Wait, I'm going to get my phone, and I wrote it down. And I said to myself, I'm going to put this and make a t-shirt. And recently I've been just grabbing my phone, just grab my phone and just going ahead and, okay, let me see, cancel, save. Let me go into this other place here. Here it is. Give me a second, y'all. This phone is so slow. And I went down to the place today to transfer my phone over to the new phone. The lady wasn't there. I'm like, I'll go back tomorrow. Here it is. The worst thing is to end up with a person that makes you feel alone. Isn't that something? I should title that this, since I'm speaking about this toward the end. The worst thing is to end up with a person that makes you feel alone. And I'm going to add on to it. A person that's with you and don't even give a damn if you do feel alone. A person that has allegiance to many strange entities, but makes sure to give you bare minimum. Make sure to not give you conversation. Make sure that there are no intimacies happening. What kind of mess is that? So sometimes we hold on to these things, but if you build your confidence and see beyond a narrow situation and go out into the world and have conversations, see situations, expose yourself to things, you say, wait a second, what in the hell am I doing in this toxic situation? So we have a lot to talk about. I just threw out a whole lot of things. I want to hear your feedback in the comments section. And again, if you want to email me directly with something personal, I don't share stories that people share with me, only if you tell me. If you say, Lance, leave my name out of it, but talk about this. Let's open up and share situations so that as we vibe with each other in the comments section, in the discussion areas, we can come to a solution and we can ascend our lives into something better and something more enjoyable and something that we, as the good people of the world, truly deserve. Anyway, salute to my brothers. Much love. Mwah. To my sisters. I hope this dialogue stirred something up inside you a little bit so that we can talk. Because so many of us, when we see somebody, we say, how are you? Oh, I'm fine. And then they go home later on and put a gun to their head and kill themselves. It's like, wait a second, I just saw this person and they told me that they were fine. What the hell? So we put on a mask, not all of us, but too many of us put on a mask to the outside world from 9 to 5, or whenever we work, or whenever we deal with other people, to appear to be this thing called normalcy, which there is no normalcy. We're in a state of flux all the time. See, we wake up sometime happy. We wake up sometime perplexed. We wake up sometime a little stressed. Sometimes we don't feel happy when we wake up, but we're blissful later on. The weight that we wake up with is not the weight that we go to bed with. Because we eat, we put on water weight, we go out in the sun, everything is changing and altering itself. So the way you see things right now may not be the way you see it 2 weeks from now or even a year from now. Give yourself a chance to move forward so that you can have a different view of things. Like now we have drones that we can buy. And those of us, and I'm going to get one soon, those of us who do video, we're not stuck to what's on the land. We can put the camera in the drone and make it go up. And when we look down, we can see, wow, my neighborhood looks different. This place looks different from up there, from a different perspective. It's like when you were a little kid at a free concert at the park, and you were 5 years old and all you saw was people's butts. But then somebody picked you up and put you on their shoulders, and now you can see above, far above and beyond what you can see before. Just because you don't see it doesn't mean that it's not there. Just because you can't see happiness right now doesn't mean that it's there. The joy, the happiness is there. We just got to get those clouds away. And the only way to do it is to heal and to have dialogue and to talk it out. Because once you throw this stuff up, just like when you unfortunately upchuck food that was nasty for you or wasn't prepared right, there's a nasty taste in your mouth. You have to go through that. But once you get it out of your system, brush your teeth, cleanse your mouth, and put down something good, you forgot all about it, and it's not going to be a burden to your life anymore. Anyway, much love to you all. Leave your comments. On to the next one. I really take a great joy in coming up here and speaking from the heart. There was no script to this. I just spoke it as it was, and this was the way it's supposed to be. Anyway, LanceScurv out. Peace. Much love.